Good morning, Angie, all the way in Panama City Beach, Florida. Oh, Angie, that sounds really nice right about now, being on the beach. Although, I wonder what it's like there right now. We'll actually take a look at the radar coming up in just a second. Good morning, everyone. I'm Wave Meteorologist Brian Goode. Welcome to the Good Morning Blog here on Wave Weather Now. We have a chance to talk about the current weather setup, the trends in the long term, and of course, any weather that's going to impact some of the events coming our way, which, of course, we have a big holiday weekend. So that's one of the bigger issues we got to resolve, and it's still rather complex. Of course it is. Is it ever easy? Do I ever come on here and say, oh, it's an easy forecast? I rarely do. And I think everyone thinks I'm being dramatic. I'm not that dramatic. And a big shout out to Tawana Andrew, who's in the weather office right now. Hi, Tawana. She's about to go home. Go home. What are you doing in the weather office? Go home. All right. So look at everyone. Wilmington, Ohio. Brian, you're up at the Weather Service area, Weather Service office for Cincinnati. He's up there in Wilmington. All right. Got people all over the place. So for those that are here in town, I'll cover the outlook, but also I'll show you the regional zone 2 on the radar here in just a second. Let's start with how about Skytrack camera? We'll do that. That'll be first up here this morning, and this is going to take us to the outlets and to Simpsonville. This is looking at the Bluegrass, the shops of Bluegrass there. Good day to do some shopping, actually. They got nice little shade spots at times there because there will be plenty of sun today. Obviously, we have quite a bit now. There will be times when it'll get a little overcast, some cumulus clouds will form, and there is still a rain chance today, but it's still small. Most of you will not see that rain chance, unfortunately, unfold for you, but that chance is at least there. Here's the latest look at the radar view. Very interesting radar, too, today, because we have a little weak low that is actually right over, say, Brandenburg and Meade County that is formed today. So you got a little bit of a spin that is happening in this area. But overall, the trend is to allow for the flow still coming in from the east. Right now, the wind is relatively calm. It'll pick up a little more once we get what we call mixing in the atmosphere. That'll take place in about 2 to 3 hours from now. Once that kicks in, you'll get a little more of a stronger wind that'll kick in from the east. That's why today is still backwards weather day. Anything that forms heading west as we head throughout the day, so be mindful of that. But the air is still relatively dry. There's only just a couple of key layers where clouds will form today of cumulus clouds that you can get, 1 or 2 that can grow, I would say up to about 20,000 feet, something like that, which is maybe the limit. Maybe just enough to get a shower. If they can get taller than 20,000 feet, they could produce lightning, but right now that doesn't look to be a high issue at the moment. Your higher rain chance is actually down across areas still in Alabama and Georgia. Did you hear about the plane got struck by lightning in Atlanta yesterday with those storms were flying around? I think it was American or United. It was United Airlines. But anyway, they grounded the plane today, so they're inspecting it now, which it's very common to get lightning strikes on airplanes. But it's just been so active there. It's a very tropical setup in the southern part of the country at the moment. But for our area, again, we're still just right there on the fringe, right on the fringe of the whole thing. So I would say your higher rain chance is certainly going to be a little more south than it will be north if you look at wave country and a more zonal idea. This is still where it's transferring over to allow for a more of a tropical low that's trying to form into the Gulf Stream. You can already see that trying to happen. Still, there's no immediate concern of a rapid development there. It's not a great environment just because we have the weak low that's still in the southeast. We have a low pressure to the east of that. So it isn't sharing a very strong high pressure environment, which is what these tropical lows need to develop into depression, storms, and eventually hurricanes. The environment is not primed for that. So this has got a battle ahead of it, but it's going to be just enough development to be annoying for those that are trying to go to the beach. Down in Panama City at the moment, by the way, Angie, you got a mostly cloudy sky, especially inland. Kind of get a few downpours that may cross over from the ocean side into the Panhandle. That is certainly possible. Otherwise, the beaches in the Carolinas, the weather actually get a little worse as you get further into the holiday weekend, just because of where the low is positioned. Okay, so here's the rain chance today. Notice just a few little blips, one or two. Once again, E-Town, Marion County area, Lebanon, Gravel Switch, Hodgenville, you guys will carry a 10% chance higher than Louisville will. And Louisville will carry a 10% chance higher than, say, Salem or Henryville will today. And that will span the 20% for the area. So it's not a very high rain chance, but that's how it'll be stacked. Kentucky, more so Indiana. Just be mindful that one or two can move on by. And you really do want the rain when you see the outlook. So I hope you do get a little bit of rain out of this for the afternoon. They'll fade away tonight, tomorrow. Warmer day tomorrow. A little breezy at times. Temperatures in the mid 80s as we head into the afternoon hours for your Wednesday. Then you'll see a line right there. See that line that dropped down as we moved into about midnight Thursday. That is the front, the backdoor cold front that is moving in for your Thursday. And that's going to allow for a beautiful setup on Thursday with lots of sunshine. It will be the windiest day of the week. It's not overly strong like a wind advisory setup. It will be gusty, I'd say 20 to 28, something like that will be the gust on your Thursday because the air is going to be quite dry. So when the air mixes on Thursday, the wind's going to gust. Temperatures could still overachieve here. We're thinking about mid 70s, but Louisville especially, and that setup of dry air, a lot of sun, we tend to be a little warmer. So we may not notice the cool day as much as everyone else, but it will feel really good. Dew points are low. So that in itself is going to make it easy to be outside. Just keep in mind, you'll get a sunburn really fast on a day like that because you're not sweating as much. So the evaporation will happen fast on your skin. You can get a burn real quick. So keep an eye on the kiddos as they head out to the pool there on Thursday. And then we get into Friday, and this is where everything kind of just goes off the rails a bit. Because we have the strong front moving in, the big high pressure that's dipping into the Ohio Valley, eastern part of the country, that will linger through the holiday weekend. The problem is the edges of it, because we've got the tropical low that's going to get involved, and we have another weak low that wants to kind of sneak in also from the south and west. The two are really going to try to battle against this high as much as they can all the way through Memorial Day. And that is where our forecast becomes a little more on the iffier side. So let me kind of show you that side of things with precipitation. There's the low itself. GFS especially likes to bring it a little more northwest right into Kentucky. If that were to be the case, it would be a rather stormy holiday weekend. Right now, it's the outliner. The Euro likes to keep it a little more along the coastline, but we could still get clouds thrown from this. What is interesting about the Euro is it tries to sneak in another low that wants to try to get involved here as we into late Friday into Saturday that could bring us rain from the other direction. So it may not all be the low to the east, but the models are just having a very tough time on how to handle the energy coming out of anywhere into the plain states and how to handle the tropical low. The reason for that is very simple. There's just no steering flow at all in our area. So it's very complex when it comes to moving any system in any one direction when you don't have a lot of wind to push anything in any one direction, which usually is the easiest part of a forecast like this, but it's very much a summer-like one to deal with what we call the doldrums of summer, where you just have very weak winds to steer things. But that's the case. And so right now we're going to keep the rain chance low for the holiday weekend. And it could end up being mostly cloudy at times. We'll keep the temperatures down into the 70s, but you got to understand there will be some changes to this forecast. If we don't have a cloud cover, we're going to be in the mid-80s. If we end up with rain, we're going to be in the 60s. That is a big difference. I get it, especially when you're trying to make outdoor plans. But at the moment, the trend is to go low on the rain chance for now. Just stay close to the forecast and keep checking back. And we'll see how this evolves. But it's one of those that is going to make things a bit of a challenge because it's not just one day. It's not just Memorial Day we're watching. A lot of you have plans Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So that makes it a little more complex as we track that. So be patient with us on this forecast. I promise you we're analyzing every time it updates, but it is going to be a challenging setup on the minor details like that. Okay, so after it moves by, it's all about the heat, really, because we get kind of a squeeze play. The heat zone is going to build into the plains, right into the Ohio Valley. You're going to be stormy on the southern edges of that, all the way up the East Coast. That is where your best chance to get thunderstorms in general. Meanwhile, we just flat out heat up right over our area as we head into just after Memorial Day into next week. Still looking at 90 being reachable. The key on getting to 90, though, is what I've been mentioning before, is the dry ground. If we don't see a ton of rainfall at all over the next several days, you can get to 90 this early in the season. And this is the outlook from at least the Weather Prediction Center for the next 7 days. It's all about Southern Kentucky, barely anything in the bucket, and some of you not even a drop for the next 7 days. So if you're going to do some mowing, you may be in luck and may not grow very much the next several days. But for you gardeners out there, you may have to do some watering as we into the weekend. So in a way, we need some rain, but we don't want it for the holiday weekend. So it's kind of mixed feeling, right, on this one. So there you go. That's where we stand right now for the next several days. We'll see how it looks tomorrow and just update you guys. Obviously, as we get closer, we're going to have a better idea on some of the steering. But this far out, even 4 days out from getting into the pattern, yeah, you're going to get a lot of variant. We don't have a lot of high res data too on this. We've got a very a blocky grid of data we can look at. That's the problem with weather models still today, is we just have a limit to them. But as we get closer, we get very finer details, and that answers a lot of the questions that we need answered. Okay, I'll stop rambling. Everyone good? Thanks, Nancy. Yeah, it is a little tough. That's why I have gray hair. It's because of the job. Myra, why are you laughing?
I have gray hair too.
Myron Sari's in here. You have a lot of gray hair.
I do.
But you want it gray. You're making it. You're dyeing it gray. That's my excuse in a way. I mean, my hair, I'm looking more and more like Mitt Romney every day. I've noticed it. Right. Embrace the gray. You're exactly right. Hey, it is National Turtle Tortoise Day today. Harry will be on Wave Country today with Dawn, and you may see him on later shows as well. All right, guys, I got to run. As always, appreciate y'all watching. Have a good rest of your Tuesday there. It's going to be beautiful out. Keep an eye on that rain chance in the Wave Weather app itself with the rain chance on the radar. And we'll just update you guys as we head throughout the day. Have a good one. And I will see you guys on the flip side.